In this video, we'll be repairing an ASUS X570 gaming motherboard with a quite rare issue that prevents it from powering on. This repair took me around 3 weeks to complete. We'll be replacing large ICs, talking about motherboard reset signals, and doing lots of soldering work, as usual. So, get into a comfortable position in front of your TV, grab a cup of something nice, and let's go! Hi everyone, today on our bench we have an ASUS gaming motherboard, the TUF Gaming EX570 Plus Wi-Fi. This board came in with a no power issue. The customer already tried replacing the CPU and memory, powering it on with and without a GPU, but nothing helped. The motherboard shows no reaction when the power button is pressed. Let's try to figure out what's going on here. As always, we'll start with resistance measurements on the main power rails. I have already done a quick visual inspection, but I couldn't find anything critical. Another motherboard that stopped working for no visible reason. Okay, 3.3 volts. And we have kilo ohms here, 5 volts. 1.3 kilo ohms, 12 volts. That's more than 1 kilo ohm. Minus 12. Have nothing. 5 VSB. It's 9 kilo ohms, as it should be. Okay, 12 volt CPU. Kilo ohm. Then 12 volt CPU to V core. We have mega ohms in the V core. 62 ohms. Oh, looks everything great. After confirming that all resistance values are within normal range and there are no shorts, it is safe to connect the board to a lab bench power supply and try to power it on. We will check whether there is any reaction to the power button and measure the current consumption in the standby state. Pressing power button, and we have no reaction. The next step is to measure the standby voltages to understand why the board has no reaction when the power button is pressed. The 1.8 volt standby rail is present, as well as 3 volt battery voltage. This means that both 3 volts and 5 volt standby are available on this board. I also checked the 3 volts rail on the power button line, just in case. Next, we need to check the RSM-RST signal, which is, in our case, should be the asserted or high. To do this, we can probe the signal directly on the corresponding pin of the SIO chip. And here we go, RSM-RST is low, which means the board is stuck in a constant reset state and will never power on. At first glance, I thought the RSM-RST pull-up circuitry wasn't working, maybe it knocked off resistor or it cut trace, but the pull-up line turned out to be perfectly fine. This drastically narrows down the possible issues. After spending some time analyzing the schematic for this board, it became clear that the only components capable of pulling RSM-RST low are the CPU and the SIO chip. The SIO should always deassert RSM-RST by pulling it high as soon as it receives 3 volt standby power. Since the CPU is known to be working, this motherboard officially supports it and 3 volts was present on the SIO chip. The only remaining culprit is the SIO itself. This is quite rare in my experience, and SIO usually doesn't fail without a visible reason, such as damaged surrounding circuitry or physical damage to the chip package. Anyway, I decided to replace the SIO. However, this board uses the NCT6798D-R, and in my stock I only have the NCT6798D, which is an older version and lacks some features that this motherboard may rely on. Most likely this replacement wouldn't work. Because of that, I decided to order the correct SIO chip and wait for it to be delivered. While we're waiting for the SIO chip to arrive, it makes sense to do a proper visual inspection. You never know what else might be wrong with this board. So let's take the motherboard apart and have a closer look at it under the microscope. PCH or Southbridge area looks normal. PCI Express slot clip has clear marks of being opened with a screwdriver, but the PCB underneath isn't damaged, so it was apparently done successfully. CPU area looks normal. The VRM MOSFETs are clean and shiny. The back side of the board doesn't look that perfect. The first thing that catch the eye are a few not-off VRM filtering capacitors and a large scratch right in the middle of the copper plate. Those issues are not critical and should not prevent the motherboard from powering on or posting. Nothing critical was found, so all that's left is to wait for the new SIO chip to arrive and proceed with the replacement. It took about 2 weeks and I finally received the new SIO chip. I've already compared the marking and the chips are identical. They are not pre-programmed and use the motherboard BIOS as their data source, so let's replace it. Since the chip has many pins, it's better to mix the existing solder with leaded solder to lower the melting temperature. Leaded solder from pads on the motherboard. I also decided to remove the solder and clean the existing SIO chip so I could measure the resistances and use them for comparison. The RSM RST pin on the desoldered IC shows megaohms. The RSM RST on the motherboard shows kiloohms. It's time to solder the new SIO chip. let's see. What do we have? The RSM RST. We have 28 ohms for that pin. And what are we going to have here right now? Let's see. Okay, there's the ground. There should be ground and pin number 4. I do remember. The same 29.6 ohms. Okay. 1 ohm difference. So I'm not sure if it helps or not. Maybe the problem was not in SIO. I just wasted my time. The chip. But let's power it on. See if everything is good. Or no. Let's power without the CPU. And we have 100 milliamps. Hitting the power button, nothing happens. Okay. Then we'll take the CPU. Put the CPU on. And I guess I need to turn on the small camera to show you the current consumption. Okay, it's 150 right now. Pressing the power button and bingo! Haha, we have it. So the problem was in SIO. This is awesome. Okay, let's put the memory stick and try to get a picture. Maybe, I guess we can go here. So for the memory configuration is A2 is the slot number 4 that I have here. The second one is B2, and the first and the third when you have 4 sticks. So what else we need? We need to get the capture card on. Okay, capture card. And we have it, okay, right here. Pixel good picture, okay. We do need our heatsink. Yeah. This way. And let's get the pause screen here. Oops. Okay, let's wait. Okay, let's do it again. Let's power. Pressing the power button. Will we have a picture? That's the question. And we do. We have a picture. So the problem was the malfunctioning SIO, and replacing the SIO solved the problem. And now the board is back to the working state. Perfect. I like to see this. Of course, many of you might ask, hey, what about all those knocked off components on the back of the board shown in the video? Yes, I will solder them back. I have a strong feeling they affect motherboard stability. Otherwise, manufacturers wouldn't spend money adding them in the first place. That's it, this motherboard is back to life. It was really surprised that the SIO chip failed without any visible defects or shorted signals. The only missing signal was RSM-RST. I'm really glad this board is repaired, and I hope you enjoyed fixing it together with me and picked up some useful information along the way. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!